is pretty much on top of the world right now, aren't they? Every movie they release is a box office hit, pretty much all of them have gotten good reviews, some better than others, and every company has been trying to copy them, with mixed results. And besides their movies, they also have a large amount of TV series. Agent Carter, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and of course, Daredevil, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm convinced it's the best show ever. They also have quite a few animated series: Avengers Earth the Mightiest Heroes, Avengers Assemble, and the topic of today's review, Ultimate Spider-Man. Sorry for that intro, that was basically just saying Marvel is awesome, but I really don't have much to say for this intro. After all, the only animation from Marvel I've seen is in 3D showing when I went to New York. And as far as Spider-Man goes, I've never read the comics, yet he's probably my favorite superhero solely based off the movies, which are the only things from the franchise that I've seen. Well, except for a few episodes of the 60s cartoons, which gave me a few laughs. Anyway, if you want my opinions on the movies, awesome, bad, great, the most underrated movie of the 2010s so far. But I don't know if the show has anything to do with the movies. All I know is that it stars Drake Bell and is airing on Disney XD. So, at the very least, this should be interesting. So, let's swing into action. This is the 2-part pilot to the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. Great power, great responsibility. So the show starts out with Peter already as Spider-Man. Done. Who the hell are you? Ow! 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 Oh, God! Oh! Oh! Why are you so mean? Oh, okay. Jesus! How the hell did you even get in my house? Alright, under any other circumstances, I would be totally down with just skipping the origin story, but Spider-Man is the only superhero origin story that I know of that I actually like. I liked seeing how Peter got his powers. I liked the backstory of how he began living with his aunt and uncle. I liked seeing his uncle teach him about what it really takes to be a superhero just before he died. It was actually interesting. But whatever, if the show wants to skip over the origin story, that's fine, as long as they get us up to speed. So, how did he get his powers? I don't know. What exactly are the extent of his powers? Not 100% sure. Why exactly did he become a crime fighter? Because it was cool, I guess. Despite being a two-parter, this is probably going to be the shortest episode of Peeking at the Pilots I've ever done. Here is the story of this episode, in the way that they tell it. We start with Spider-Man interrogating some bad guys as he is approached by Nick Fury. Fury asks him to join S.H.I.E.L.D., saying that he can give him new shit, but he declines. As he leaves, we meet Norman Osborn, who wants to use Spider-Man to create an army of super soldiers and sell them to the highest bidder, because apparently he's not already rich enough. He's also in cahoots with Dr. Octavius, because of course he is. At school, Peter meets up with Mary Jane, who's a journalism student and not an actress in this version, and she wants to get a job with J. Jonah Jameson, whose whole plan is to take away Spider-Man's credibility. So, typical MSNBC stuff. There's also Harry Osborn. He's best friends with Peter after Harry allowed him to ride home in his limo and made his father smile even though he was smiling before. The one-dimensional, nothing redeeming about him school bully Flash locks Peter in a locker before he is let out by our Stan Lee cameo.
Excelsior!
During lunch, the school is attacked by the Frightful Four, the Fantastic Four's second cousins, because they heard Spider-Man went to school there. They found out via a tracker that Peter had on his suit that he's still wearing, so how they don't know it's him, I'm not sure, but they injure Harry, and after a pretty cool fight scene, they flee before they are caught. Peter goes home to his Aunt May, but realizes he forgot to buy a cake for his dead uncle's birthday party. After going through a major subplot of Spider-Man 2 in 30 seconds, he goes to meet up with S.H.I.E.L.D., ending part 1. In part 2, we start with Spidey fighting a bunch of robots to prove he is worthy of joining S.H.I.E.L.D. as 4 other teens whose names I don't know observe him. Spidey defeats them all and then is dropped out to perform a parachute test, which he passes. Mary Jane tells Peter that she is trying to set up an interview with Spider-Man, but that doesn't go anywhere. Fury introduces Spidey to the Dr. Connors, who gives him a motorcycle which he drives off the ship, likely causing thousands of dollars worth of damage. Thankfully, he's saved by the 4 heroes from earlier whose names we finally learn: Iron Fist, White Tiger, Power Man, and Nova. They're supposed to be a part of the team with Spidey, but Spidey doesn't want to since he works alone, despite saying at the end of part 1 that he didn't want to be the lonely loser anymore.
I'm done with this lonely loser routine.
Oh, hi, Coulson. Spidey tries to leave, but Fury tries to convince him to stay by conjuring up the ghost of Uncle Ben and confirming my suspicions that they are trying to create another Avengers team. But it doesn't work. As he ponders on a building's ledge, because every superhero has to ponder on a building's ledge, he's attacked by the Frightful Four again. But the other 4 Avenger wannabes arrive and we get a pretty good action scene that ends with the Frightful Four being defeated. Spidey agrees to join the team, but he still wants to work solo. I don't know how that works, but okay. The other 4 transfer to his school, which honestly takes him way longer to realize than he should have, and Coulson is now the principal. Wait, what happened to the other principal? Oh my god, did the Frightful Four kill him? Spidey is originally peeved at the idea, but seeing how they can help him with his bully problem, he gets used to it, and then it ends. Holy shit. Okay, you guys might not see a problem with this episode from that description, But that's because the plot is fine. It's the pacing. This episode's pacing is fast. Really fast. I take back everything I said about Sonic Boom's pacing. This is it's just like Sam Raimi's original Spider-Man movie. That's what it's like. The plot is fine and the characters are there. Its pacing is just so damn fast that it has no time to really develop anything. To be fair, this is a series, and for a pilot, I'm not asking it to explain everything, but that's the problem. They do explain everything. Every single thing is explained in 10 to 20 second little narrations. From the characters to the backstories. Hell, they even take a few seconds in part 2 to explain to us something that happened in part 1. I get it, you only have 44 minutes, but you don't need to explain each character, you can just show us. Hell, there was a part where we see how Peter and Harry met, and it was good. I liked that scene, because they just showed us it. I can't really explain how I would fix it other than make it a 3-parter. Also, the editing is really weird. Take the scene where Peter comes home after fighting the Frightful Four. He talks with Aunt May for a minute, then we cut to Peter seeing Harry in the hospital. I thought this was meant to be the next day, but then we cut back to Peter and Aunt May showing that it was a flashback. I don't know, the whole thing just felt really weird to me. It was starting to remind me a little bit of Spider-Man 3. And I don't hate Spider-Man 3 as much as a lot of other people do, but it did give me that feeling of just not having much flow and going by really quickly. It's just not... Yes, that was a good point I made earlier, but for some reason decided to put it here. Anyway, other than the pacing, I really don't have much else to talk about. Everything else is just okay. How was the animation? It was okay. How was the dialogue? It was okay. How was the humor? It was okay. Some jokes were pretty funny, others felt forced, and some didn't even make sense. Okay. There were a few things I really liked. Jameson was pretty funny. Of course, J.K. Simmons is playing him, so why wouldn't he be?
Get the fuck out of my sight before I demolish you.
Speaking of voice acting, most of it's pretty good. I really like Drake Bell as Peter, and they got a lot of talented voice actors for the other roles, like Greg Sipes, Tara Strong, and Tom Kenny, to name a few. There is one scene where Peter argues with Spidey on how hard it is to be both a teenager and superhero, basically what we went through in Spider-Man 2. I like the idea, but it only lasts 30 seconds, so it feels more like a plot device than character development. But like the movies, the best thing about Spider-Man is Spider-Man himself. He's wild, he's sarcastic, he's a bit arrogant at times, but you can tell he wants to help and loves his friends and family. I also like how time stops when he talks to the camera. Some serious Saved by the Bell shit going on here. So in the end, did I like or dislike it? Well, I can't really tell. There's nothing about it that really pissed me off, but there was very little that was keeping my attention. I feel that if they fixed up the pacing, I might actually really like this. For what it is, they at least got all the important exposition out of the way, so maybe the rest of the series will be able to develop these. I've heard it gets better as it goes on. I don't know. All I know is I want to see the Halloween episode where they cross over with Jesse, because I honestly could not believe that exists. If you're a huge Spider-Man or Marvel fan, I say give it a shot. Maybe you'll like it. But if you're not, I'm not saying you won't, but I find it more unlikely. Anyway, next time we'll be going back to the early 2000s for a show that, in retrospect, pretty much everyone agreed was completely awful. Bye!